Hey, how we doing? So today's video is going to be a quick down and dirty version of how to build a dope book or a dope card, all right? Dope stands for data of previous engagements, all right? So what we're doing is we're going to the range, we're sighting in, we're getting our zero and all that, and then we're like progressively shooting out to further distances and understanding what we have to do to our rifle in order to get direct hits at those distance. All right. So today I took a buddy of mine's son to the range. We got him sighted in, and I explained to him why it's important that he should have a dope book for that rifle, and then later down the road, as he shoots further distances, creating a dope card that goes onto his rifle. All right, so here in Ohio, you're not really engaging most animals past 100 yards. And everything here in Ohio is either shotgun, slugged, or a straight walled cartridge. All right, so we're not trying to shoot 1,000 yards like some of the hunters out west do. All right, so it still is a good thing to do no matter what. But let's get into how to build a dope book. You can buy them as well. I prefer to build mine because then I am in control of how organized it is, because there's a lot of them that like your page is just filled with a bunch of information that is pertinent if you're really into it. All right. But if you're just trying to get a basic understanding of what your weapon and scope does at ranges, this one's going to be plenty for you, and you can build your dope card that goes onto your rifle from this. All right. So either build it or buy it. It's up to you, but I'm going to show you guys what I do with mine. All right. So here is our book page. All right. So we're doing this down and dirty style. All right, so in your book, it doesn't matter if you have a notebook this size or if you get one this size. You can do either one to make this, all right? And it'd be beneficial for every rifle you own to have a dope book specifically for that weapon, all right? So one of the first things that we're going to get into is understanding that when you buy a rifle, yes, you can use any ammo that is available and shoot through that weapon. But the longer that we spend time shooting, the more we'll understand that certain rifles like certain ammunition. All right, can't explain to you why. It's just the thing. All right. So one of the things that I would suggest if you have just bought a rifle is to figure out what grain, what specific ammo your rifle likes, because you could have Federal 170 and Hornady 170, and your rifle decides that it likes a 170 grain bullet from this manufacturer, but not from that manufacturer, okay? So, buy every brand, every grain that is on the shelf, one box of it all. I know we don't like to spend money on things that we're not going to use, but it is beneficial to figure out what bullet your weapon prefers. Now, if you want to get into the loading aspect of it, go for it. I don't understand that stuff very well. I have buddies that load, and maybe I can get them to help me with the video and understanding how that works and how to go forward with making your own rounds. All right. But for what we're doing here, just if we're buying factory ammunition, figure out what your gun likes. All right. So I'm going to just use the information from mine. So I shoot a 30-06 and it prefers 150 grain Hornady black. All right, so we will put that in for the bullet. All right, so today we were shooting on an indoor range. All right, it's a very nice indoor range facility. One of the benefits to that is you don't have to worry about windage. All right, so you get a pure understanding of what your gun's doing and what you're doing to your gun. All right, so I would suggest when you're getting your 100, taking it to an indoor range. That way, all you're focusing on is elevation and fundamentals. All right, so we're going to say that our windage for today is 0 miles per hour. All right. Now what we're going to do is we are going to look down our scope. All right, and our key to understanding things is sight and hits. So on the sight target that you draw, all right, this is what you are looking at when you pull the trigger in your scope. All right. So if your reticle is centered on that target, but you pull, and you'll know when you pull around left or right or anything like that. What we're trying to do is figure out where your sights were when you pulled the trigger. I know for a lot of beginner shooters, you're going to flinch, you're going to close your eyes, and you're going to assume that it was held over center. All right. So we can say that our first impact or our first sight picture was dead center. All right. Let me show that a little bit better. All right, so dead center there. All right, so then where it actually hits on paper is where we put it over here. All right, in the hits. So let's say, like, I'll use the pattern from my buddy's son's rifle today. His first one was up here, very top of the paper. All right. All in all, we had to come down 22 clicks to get him centered up. All right. So after that, we'll mark our page just like we've done here. And now we'll get back behind that rifle. Good fundamentals, slow, steady squeeze to the rear. Let it surprise us. Bang. We believe that we were aiming center again. And now we drop around down here, okay? So now we've marked our paper and we're going in again. All right, we get behind it, we pull the trigger, and we believe that we were center again. All right, now our round impacts here. All right, so what we're seeing is you can do 3 rounds, you can do 5 rounds, it doesn't matter. He had limited ammo, so we did 3-round groups. All right. So in the first group, we were about 1.5 to 2 inches MOA at 100 yards. So we can call that accurate. All right. So then from there, what we did was we made the adjustments. All right. So our first set of adjustments were for elevation. We did 16 down. All right. So once we got that written out, we made the adjustment. All right. We came down 16 clicks. All right. And then we started again with our next group. All right. So we're aiming center, bang. Now we've dropped here. All right. And we do it again. We mark our sheets. We go again. We think we've aimed center. Now we got one over here a bit. All right. And then we think we aim center. But then I noticed that we shake our head and we pulled it way off. All right. So even though he knows that he pulled this round and everything, all right, we still have a good first 2 shots that we can adjust off of. All right. So we have our 3 groups. All right. And now we're trying to get closer to center. All right, so now we're going to make our adjustments again. All right, so for our 3 shots, we realize that we're still too high, and now we have to come down again. All right, so we're going to come down 8 drops, I believe it was, something like that. So now we do the same thing. We think we're aiming center when we pulled the trigger. Now our grouping is here. Second shot, aim center. Now we're here. All right, third shot, we aim center. And now we're just off the edge of the paper there. All right, so then what we did next was we made no more elevation adjustments. Now what we did was make windage adjustments. All right, so from here, we'll say that we're moving over 4 to the left. All right, and that got us on center. All right, so now that we are pretty well zeroed, now we're going to take our time and we're going to do a confirming group. All right, so now that we have our elevation dialed in and now we think that we have our windage adjusted, now we can do a confirmation shot. All right, now you're aiming center, you're doing your good fundamentals, and your next 3 groups are all within the center. All right, so at that point, on this range, we can't do it. We can't go down to the other end of the range because they got paper on a roller. And so when you're done with that target, what it does is the guy comes over with a key, turns it, and it rolls up until the next target is visible. Okay, so we have that. The thing that I like to do is once we have a good confirmation and we did the good fundamentals and all that stuff, is now we're going to take a good grouping. All right, now we're going to measure it to figure out how accurate we are. Most guns are coming 1 MOA, 2 MOA from factory. Now, 1 MOA at 100 yards is fantastic. Less than that, even better. All right. Most people that are not shooting on a regular basis, I think, will on average have a 2-inch shot group. All right. From the size of the target that I know and me spending as much time as I do holding up a couple fingers here and there, I can guesstimate that his last group was at 1.5 MOAs. All right. So that's pretty good for the rifle, for the experience, and for that round. All right. He's actually using 170 grain 350 Legend. All right. So in this, we are knowing where we shoot, and then we are taking where we hit and marking the paper and making the adjustments that we need to. All right. Now, we'll mark in that he had a 1.5 MOA. Now, there's mils and MOAs. You can pick which one you prefer. Most scopes just come 1/4 inch at 100 yards equals whatever, and they're usually in MOAs unless you buy a mil scope. All right. So I hope this helps give you an idea of how we want to mark our pages for our book in order to build our targets or not build our targets, but draw our targets and put the information in there in which we need. All right, where's it at? There it is. All right, so like this one right here. All right, I had drawn like a 1 inch by 1 inch little square on a paper plate, and you see my 2 targets where I believe that I was aiming, where I was believing I was hitting, and bringing those adjustments in. All right. So when I was doing this, I didn't have a great place to lay down and do this in the prone, so I was doing it from a knee. So it's not the best, but I was shooting my rifle and I was using the information and stuff like that. So if one more of the slots that you want to put in on this page would be position I was shooting from, and these are the groups from that, then go for it. All right. So in here, I got windage, elevations, and the wind calls I made if I had to make any. And then I had a whole course of, I can do it 15 times on this one page, all right? And one of the things that I like to do is mark, let me see if I can get the, mark what round is what round. So first round, second round, third round, fourth round, fifth round, all that kind of stuff, all right? And do it that way. Like I said, you can use any size notebook that you want to, but for basics, draw 2 targets, one that you're marking as what you believed you were aiming at when you pulled the trigger, and then your hits target, all right? Once you do that, you can fill in the information however many times you have to. You can create more spaces down below. You can customize it to what you want. All right. So I hope this helps. And if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments. All right. See you guys later. God bless.